Good morning. Happy Baby Friday. It is time for just a word from the Word. Our passage this morning comes from the book of Isaiah, chapter 6, verse 1, and I'm reading from the King James Version. Here's what it is. In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw also the Lord sitting upon a throne, high and lifted up, and his train filled the temple. That scripture came to my mind last night, and I woke up with it this morning. I just have not been able to get away from the vision that a young prophet Isaiah saw when he went into the temple in a time of mourning and a time of grief. He loved King Uzziah. And so when Uzziah died, it hurt him deeply. He grieved deeply. And yet, when Isaiah went into the house of the Lord in the middle of his grief, he looked up and he saw the Lord high, high, above all principalities, all powers, high above everything. In other words, there is no other God above him. There may be things or people, spirits, that call themselves gods and call themselves worthy to be worshiped, but he is above them all. He is high. But Isaiah didn't just see him high. He saw him lifted up. What does that mean? God certainly doesn't need you and me to raise our hands and hold him up. God doesn't need that to be high, but to be lifted up. That means that you and I are deciding that with all of our heart, soul, mind, and strength, we are worshiping God. That with every bit of our being, our lives are focused on exalting him and not us. Isaiah saw God high because of who he is. He saw him lifted up because of the worship of the people of God. And then the third thing that Isaiah saw was that God's train filled the temple. I'm sure I've said this before, perhaps you've heard it before, but in ancient days, every time a king would win a battle, material was added to the train of his royal robe. I love this. I love this part of Isaiah's vision. God's royal train is so long. He's won so many battles. There's so much material on God's royal train. That it literally filled up the inside of the temple. Isaiah saw God high because of who God is. Isaiah saw God lifted up because of the worship of his people. And then Isaiah saw how victorious God is for his people. This morning's just a word from the Word is this. Look up, y'all. I don't care if you're dragging the bottom. Well, I mean, I care. But even if you're dragging the bottom, look up. Because God is still high. He's still victorious. You and I need to lift him up. That is this morning's just a word from the word. Look up, lift up, and love him for his victory. This has been just a word from the word. God bless you. Have a beautiful day. And Lord willing, we'll see you tomorrow morning.